Mheshimiwa Mahana, member of this committee, to say the common board.
Member of this committee. Member of this committee, representing Chevaya people.
Good morning. Member of this committee, representing Uganda subcounty.
I'm sharing a member of this committee.
Please confirm that is working. Yes. Honorable Alunya Ismuri, representing the people of Madai Songo Makunga. Thank you, Chair. Secretary. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Okay, it's time for the petitioner to introduce yourselves. Thank you, Mr. Chair. James Kakamega. The board and there are legal people who can introduce that.
My name is John Subai. I'm vice chair.
I'm Joel Umkoko, a member of the board.
Stanley Were, board member.
The Honorable Chair, the Honorable Vice Chair, Honorable Members, the Principal Legal Counsel, the Sergeant at Arms, the Secretariat. My name is Ivan Smirieri, appearing for the respondents together with my learned colleagues.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Wanjala.
And County Administration is a sectoral committee that draws its mandate from Kakamega County Assembly Standing Order number 195. And the second schedule, which mandates the committee to oversee all matters related to public service board in terms of recruitment, promotions, and transfers. In this regard, the Office of the Clerk of the County Assembly received a petition presented by Mr. Dennis Duncan Mohanda. The petition sought for the removal from office the chairperson and members of the County Public Service Board on various grounds, including serious violation of the Constitution, gross misconduct, and incompetence, particulars of which are contained in the petitions. The clerk and the Honorable Speaker then processed the petitions as provided for in the Standing Order number 215. The Honorable Speaker of the County Assembly referred the petition presented by Dennis Mohanda to the Sectoral Committee on the Public Service and County Administration. Upon receipt and the referral of the petitions to the committee, the Speaker directed the committee to investigate the matter and report to the Assembly on whether the petition discloses ground for removal under Article 251, Article 1A of the Constitution of Kenya. On the 20th November 2023, the committee notified the petitioner and the respondents of this hearing through electronic and physical service. On 23rd November 2023, the respondent, Catherine Rain Omweno, through Onwenyi Merieri and Company Advocates, wrote a letter to the committee to be accorded 21 days to gather enough material. After consideration of the content of the said letter, the committee, through its own volition, resolved to accord the respondent 2 days. That respondents should note that there is a legal time frame provided for the Standing Order 219 subsection 2 regarding consideration of a petition. On 24th November 2023, the respondent, Sylvia Itembe Otunga, through Nikuli Chifuoka and Company Advocates, wrote to the committee through the clerk of the County Assembly purporting that, and I quote, "It's rumored that the said petition has been responded by 27th November 2023, with hearings supposedly kicking off on 29th November 2023. This is quite absurd since your client was served with a notice on 20th November 2023 electronically and physically on 21st of November 2023. In the same letter, you requested for extension of time, which was responded to in our letter dated 27th November 2023. Today, we are assembled here for purposes of hearing of this petition. I wish to state that this committee will serve as a quasi-judicial process and an independent arbiter, and at the end of it all, come up with a fair report that will be presented to the County Assembly for their consideration on the matter. You are reminded that all persons must speak through the chairperson. In consideration of the petition, it's important to note that the committee is making use of the following legal documents: the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the County Government Act 2012, Petition to County Assemblies Procedure Act 2020, the Fair Administrative Action Act 2015, the Kakamega County Assembly Standing Orders, Precedents, Customs, Procedures and Traditions of the Assembly of Kakamega, other county assemblies, and Parliament of Kenya, among others. That is the end of my the chairman's speech. I want also actually to recognize the people of the public gallery and request them to maintain silence. I'll give Honorable Walunya some time, who will direct on how we are going to proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And before we take any further steps, I wish we note that the petitioner is appearing in person. However, I wish to pose to the respondents through their counsel. We have 3 counsel before us. The committee is not sure of who is representing who. In your introductory, you did not mention the specific respondents you are representing. We kindly revert back to you so that we see whether you are jointly representing them or there is a specific representation. Council Mereri, Shifoka, you could shed light on it before we proceed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Chair and my colleague, Mr. Walunya. It is true, we are 3 council. All the 3 council represent each and every of the respondents. So we jointly and severally represent each of them. For purpose of clarity, we have agreed that I shall take the lead role in the representation. I hope that is conveniently safe for the committee and the petitioner.
Thank you, Council Shifoka. Now, we have had several correspondences as a committee and council representing the respondents. And today, this petition was to take off for purposes of a substantive hearing of the main petition. However, it was filed a notice of preliminary objection the same dated 27th November 2023, filed by the firm of Nyekuli Shifoka and Company Advocates on behalf of the respondents. Also in our correspondences, when we noted that a notice of preliminary objection had been filed, and in according the respondents an opportunity also to comply on their side when they had requested us for more time, as a committee we decided that since the preliminary objection is relates to matters of law, we accord you an additional of 2 days, which was the 28th and the close of business 29th for the respondents to comply, so that today we only hear the preliminary objection without going into the substance of the matter. We did so because the notice of preliminary objection, when we deal with it today, and if it is merited, it may deal and collapse the main petition. But for abundance of doubt, if in any event it may not be merited, that is why we directed that you comply by close of business today, being the second day of the 2 days we accorded you. Therefore, in that regard, today we are going to hear the preliminary objection, same having been filed by counsel for the respondents. We shall accord the respondents an opportunity to prosecute their preliminary objection, and we are giving them 30 minutes within which they are expected to prosecute their preliminary objection by submitting orally. We shall thereafter accord the petitioner also 30 minutes to submit on matters of law raised in the notice of preliminary objection and what counsel for the respondents would have submitted, orally submitted. Thereafter, after the petitioner making submission, we shall give counsel for the respondents a further 15 minutes within which to make their final rebuttals to the petitioner's submissions in response to the notice of preliminary objection. Those are the directions of the committee through the chair, and therefore the lead counsel for the respondents, Senior Counsel Shifoka, please, you can take the stand and prosecute the preliminary objection.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the guidance and direction that you've granted us this morning, and the direction that we are getting regarding our preliminary objection on points of law. We wish that you had granted us directions by email earlier so that we even provide you sufficient material upon which you may make an informed ruling or determination of the POs. Nevertheless, even before the PO comes in, there are still preliminary issues that we need to address, and which we seek your indulgence, as well as that of the petitioner. On 24th and 27th of November 2023, on 24th and 27th of November 2023, we wrote to the clerk, being the designated official recipient of all correspondence to the Assembly and the committee, requesting her for a number of things. One, we indicated that we had heard by way of rumor of the existence of the petition, and indeed there was any proper service in accordance with the regulation, then you would wish to see the affidavit of service. There are people designated to serve process, and I do not think that the Assembly as an institution is designated and gazetted and licensed to effect service of process. Two, we, with all honorable due respect, we do not think either the Sergeant at Arms or designated agent is also authorized by law to effect service of process. This is serious process. So process is effected by process servers. If I'm wrong, maybe you would furnish me with the certificates for process service for the two entities, the county assembly and the sergeant at arms. Secondly, we indicated that we had heard of the requirement for compliance by 27th of November this year. On Thursday, 24th of November this year, we received this voluminous document. In estimation, could be about 300 pages of material, which we were informed was in support of the petition. So basically, there was one day to read through, that being the Friday, to read through, respond to each and every allegation, as well as each and every document. My colleague, Mr. Mirieri, and the first respondent, Ms. Catherine, they are SDAs. So Saturdays are sacred days for them. They cannot undertake anything that is strenuous and it is not religious. I'm Christian, Catholic. Sunday is my worship day. I do not go to work on Saturday. That is why we wrote to you requesting for time for compliance. My colleague, Mr. Walunya, Honorable Walunya, will confirm that sieving through voluminous legal documents for response is a serious excursion that would not easily be taken through if really there is need for substance and material to be placed before you in response to assist you make a just determination of the issues pending before you. And that is why we had asked for the 21 days. Additionally, by copies of our said letters, there are documents that we did request. We requested for the Hansard, copy of the Hansard, in which the present petition had been committed by the House. We also requested a copy of the report of the previous petitions by one Edwin Skem. One Edwin Skem. So to Alex Wanjala, which we believe legitimately so, it is extremely material to the determination of the decision on the issues pending before the committee. Why? Because we have lots of issues. Actually, everything, word for word, was lifted from the previous petitions and included in the present petition. So if the report of the committee is ready, then it would address most of those issues. And that is why we requested for that report, so that it enables us possibly confine the present petition to issues that may not have been dealt before. We are yet to receive those particular documents. We also requested for the formal delivery of process to our office, which was never taken. We asked for a copy of the petition. We acknowledge receiving the supporting affidavit, which was served 4 days after we had heard of the petition. So technically, the delay of 4 days still ate into the time frame granted by the respondents to prepare for their case. And that is why we are here. We are saying such quasi-judicial proceedings need to comply on both substance and procedure. We respect the provisions of the standing orders on timelines, but they cannot override the right under Article 50 of the Constitution to fair trial. Fair trial requires that you give sufficient time. Sufficient time cannot be 1 day of preparation. Sufficient time cannot be 2 days to go through such a voluminous document. And that is why we're still here. We have honored. We've told you we have not yet responded to the allegations. They are grave allegations, which you also need facts from the other side. The documents which we need to rely on are still pending with the committee. So even before we consider the issue of the PO, probably some of the issues of the PO may already have been determined by the documents that may be on your part, your initial report. So that is why we kindly beseech you that you grant us additional time. We would be willing to come lower to even 14 days so that we respond to the issues. For purposes of clarity and for avoidance of doubt, we are willing not to look at the limitation of time under the standing orders. Why? Because for the fairness of justice under Article 50. It is not a strange accommodation. We have seen presidential elections in Ghana, despite being enshrined the date in the Constitution, the Supreme used 6 months to go and prepare well. So on behalf of the respondents, we are acceding in the interests and fairness of justice, not to look at the limitation of 60 days under the standing orders. It will not be illegal. It will be covered under the fairness as provided under Article 50 of the Constitution. My colleague, Mr. Evans Mirieri, also has a preliminary issue that he wishes that the committee addresses on the level of preparedness on our part. Thank you, Aaron.
Chair.
Council Mereri, before you proceed, sorry for interjecting. We had agreed that Council Shifoka shall be the lead counsel, and if at all there is a point that comes up, Council Shifoka, and you wish to donate to your colleague, you donate to him well in advance so that one council speaks on an issue. But for purposes of a senior colleague, Council Mereri had already taken his feet. Please, a minute or two.
Chair, we guided. Thank you, my learned colleague, for donating 2 minutes. I wanted to seek clarity on 2 issues. Issue number 1 is the extension of the 2 days that was granted. So at a fair count, we wanted to get guidance whether those 2 days are effectively exhausted, or if those 2 days start running today or now, pending on the subject to the issues that have been raised in terms of the communication. And then we had also issued, requested in our letter dated the 23rd for documents, items, whatever it is that the petitioner intends to rely on to prosecute his petition. So, Chair, we're seeking clarity whether the bundle of documents that are now in the region of 300 pages is the entire bundle of documents and items that the petitioner intends to rely on in prosecuting his case. And if so, then we'll also have it marked as the petitioner's bundle of documents. Because we're in receipt of that document but we don't know the document, whether it is the petitioner's document, and whether that is the document the petitioner intends to rely in prosecuting his petition. So with that clarity, we'll be able to know how to proceed. So thank you, my colleague, for donating time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Council Mereri and Council Shifoka.
Oh, I have to keep on tapping every time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We are used to those that you just hold at the mouth and you talk. For avoidance of doubt, I understand my minutes are not exhausted, so I wish to reserve the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Mereri and Council Shifoka. Although what we are doing right now, we had given you 30 minutes to argue the PO, but now we are not arguing the PO. You have raised some other preliminary issues. So your 30 minutes, if at all we shall proceed with the PO, they have not started running. However, now you've raised several preliminary issues before we go to the filed notice of preliminary objection. And as a committee now, we are requesting to consult for a maximum of 10 minutes when you shall be required to come back in. You may, both the petitioner and the respondents accord us an opportunity to consult a maximum of 10 minutes, and then you will come back in. Maybe before we rise up, I can see the petitioner is well raising a hand and up and down. We don't want to lock you. If you have an issue, we want to deal with it once and for all. We are giving you a maximum of 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and the honorable members. I want to understand that there is a PO, and I've not received a copy of that PO. Maybe the respondent are using this PO to hide what I'm going to prosecute today, because I'm very ready to proceed. But I need the copy of the PO. I need only 15 minutes or 10 minutes to respond to it right now. I'm wondering, even my colleague, my friend, Mr. Shifoka is not my colleague. He's talking about the voluminous of the documents we acquired. And I can see 3 lead lawyers here. And I don't know, 5 or 6 people. I don't know. I'm alone, and I was able to go through each and every document. It's not only this petition that I'm prosecuting today. I've got other issues I'm handling. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Council Shifoka, you would wish to clarify anything on what the petition has raised?
To clarify.
Just a minute. Huh?
Yes. Okay.
Take a minute.
Okay. Yeah. We understand from the procedures of the county assembly that the obligation to transmit documents from either side falls on the committee and this county assembly. So we cannot be blamed. Just the same way that you did not serve any of these individuals. It was delivered by, the documents were delivered by the county assembly. And 2, skimming through the bundle, we see some documents obtained as early as March of this year. So I would draw a presumption that the petitioner began preparing for this petition in March. Those are 8 months. So we are only seeking for indulgence of 14 days to respond to it. Because if he had the documents in March of this year, and it took him until October of this year to file the documents.
That issue is already noted down. I thought you are responding specifically to what he had raised. But the issue of preparedness and the timing, we want to address it. You had already raised. We shall be addressing it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And to the petitioner straight away, I'm not quite sure whether the committee is not quite sure whether you looked at your electronic email, and this document was served upon you. And if you so wish a physical copy, also it shall be transmitted. You've said even in 10-15 minutes you may be able to proceed. You may be even supplied with a physical copy, and for that matter, you shall be given the PO right away. But for the issues raised by the respondents, we wish you accord us 10 minutes. We deal with them substantially in our ruling. We also request the members who are people who are in the gallery, give us 10 minutes. You shall come back when we resume.
Tungekoje. I will verse with English or Swahili.
You are talking to a right.
Okay. Bila shaka mtazamaji, kikao ambacho kinaendelea sasa hivi ni kutathmini ama kujadili swala nzima la wale bodi ambayo inasimamia uajiri wafanyikazi katika kaunti ama serikali ya kaunti ya Kakamega. Sasa hivi baadhi ya mawakili na washikadau wakiwemo wakilishi wadi na ile kamati jopo kazi ambayo imetwiga jukumu la kutathmini mustakabali wa baadhi ya hawa wakuu ama wale wafanyikazi waajiri wafanyikazi inaendelea sasa hivi, na labda niko hapa na wanahabari wenza. Swala nzima la mchakato huu labda unaishia wapi, unaelekea wapi, nini tunatarajia baada ya kikao hiki? Manake si mara ya kwanza kikao hiki kuwepo na si mara ya kwanza mjadala sawia na huu pia kuwepo. Kwa hivyo niko hapa na mwanahabari mwenza Ochunge, mmoja wa wanahabari. Labda tu bwana Ochunge, kikao ambacho kinaendelea hapa sasa hivi, kwa faida ya mtazamaji na yule ambaye anakusikiza na anakutazama, tutarajie nini? Manake tumepelekwa katika mapumziko tu kiduchu hivi na tunarejea. Watarajie nini wakazi wa kaunti ya Kakamega kulingana na vile umesikiza na vile kikao hiki unafuatilia?
Kiswahili ama Kiingereza?
Any
can do. After 10 minutes, the way the lawyers were arguing,
yes,
and the committee is that if the preliminary objections will merit,
yeah,
then the entire petition will collapse today. That means the County Public Service Board will be free to continue their work. But in case the preliminary objections will not meet the merit or will not be of substance to the County Assembly Committee, then the petition will proceed to full hearing. And they said this is a quasi-judicial process. When the matter is finished, the business is done, everything's done, the petitioners are heard, the respondents are heard, to full hearing without any hiccups, then the committee will retreat and go and write a report that they will present to the committee of the whole house. If the committee of the whole house will adopt that report, even before they present that, if this committee will reject that report, then they'll be free to continue their work. If they will recommend for their removal, then they'll have to present it to the committee of the whole house where the report will be debated on. MCS will vote on it, whether they are agreeing with the recommendations by this committee or not. If they agree, then the service board will go home. Then they'll have to go home, and then a new service board will come in place.
Labda kama endelea sana kwa faida ya mtazamaji, anataka kujua labda baadhi ya maswala ama baadhi ya mambo ambayo yaliweza jadiliwa katika ripoti ama ile petition, ni yepi haswa ambayo yalifanya hii petition kutolewa? Ukiangalia mambo ambayo yanajadiliwa hapa ndani, labda inamshika sana mkazi wa kaunti ya Kakamega, lakini anataka kujua kipi haswa kinazungumziwa ndani ya ripoti hii ama ndani ya mapendekezo haya. Iwapo yatapitishwa, iwapo itaanguka, mkazi wa kaunti ya Kakamega atafaidika namna gani iwapo mswada huu utapitishwa ama utaangushwa? Ni vipi vipengele unahisi kama mwanahabari diliwa hapa kwa faida ya mkazi wa kaunti ya Kakamega?
What we are discussing here are allegations. The petition will have to substantiate the allegations that have been raised.
Yes.
And two, any allegation raised must be backed by evidential proof. That is in law. They are saying gross misconduct, conflict of interest, corruption. They have said the sacking of the CEO of the County Public Service Board, who was sacked in 2020 by the former governor. And you see, even though the action was taken by the governor, implementers of that decision is the County Public Service Board. So that's the first allegation. In fact, this is what has been added to this petition. The rest of the allegations are allegations that were contained in the last two previous petitions that did not see the light of the day after they collapsed at the initial hearing stage, when the two petitioners withdrew their petitions and decided that the case cannot proceed to full hearing. Yes.
Maybe finally, before I go to Mr. Ndindi, as a journalist, what is in your mind?
That's a tricky question. Let's wait and see.
After listening, but I know you have been following this petition, not from today, since they came up with the issue and they have been filing whatever. You have been on tours for doing, at least following, to know what is going on, what is inside. Now it is being tabled here. As a journalist, I know there's some of things that you just expect that maybe they'll come out from this petition.
As I said earlier, this is a quasi-judicial process. You cannot preempt what will come out of these proceedings. So you have to wait and see what happens thereafter. Because matters of the law, you don't jump into conclusion until such a time everything has been exhausted to conclusion and decision has been taken, then you can talk about it.
Thank you so much. This has been one of our senior journalists here in Kakamega County. I'm talking of Ochunge Nathan. And here I'm having Douglas Ndindi, one of the veteran guys whom when you hear the name Douglas Ndindi, people who table issues and facts. Ndindi, you can just move closer. I want to talk to you. Looking at this petition and what is going on today here, you are here as a journalist. I know there's quite a number of things that you are trying also to ego on, at least to know what is going to come out from this. And I've seen around MCAs are just hanging around. They are not in the chamber, but they are hanging around. What do you think is just have to or is coming out from this?
Surely, this is an execution of the executive. The petitioner is a protege of the executive, and the County Assembly Committee on Public Service and Administration has been roped in
Yes.
to do the bidding. So what we expect here is nothing more than the musical chairs. The petitioner is one of those people who are playing into the tune of the executive. There is no much. The executive is uncomfortable with the County Public Service Board, and this is not the first time they want it removed. So by all means, this is the second petition, the second time, but the third petition against the petition, the County Public Service Board. So you can all but say that the county executive is not comfortable with the County Public Service Board.
They are not comfortable. What do you mean when you're talking of they are not comfortable? Maybe there's some things they make them not comfortable.
This is a different regime. A regime of Fernandez Baraza. This County Public Service Board was put in place by the immediate former, Wycliffe Oparanya. So there are things that, in my opinion, they don't subscribe to Baraza. In my opinion, the Baraza believes that the service board subscribes to Oparanya. Is not dancing to the tune of Baraza, and that's why 2 petitions in 1 year.
2 petitions in 1 year.
Two petitions to remove the County Public Service Board in 1 year.
Yeah, you remind me last time there's a guy who had a petition from Malava, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
And he withdrew the case.
Yes. That person is now an employee of the County Service Board, the county government of Kakamega. The case, the
petition?
Yes, the petition was not executed. Yeah. It is collapsed, but yes, he was still employed. So which means that petition was supported by the county executive. I'm talking about the governor.
So speaking of that, you just mean that this petition is like heading nowhere?
This petition, when you look at the content, the agenda, the objectives, and you also overheard the lead lawyer, Mr. Sifoka, of the petitioners, of the respondents, I mean. Is a section that he says that can we have a transcript or a proceedings of the initial trial, the initial petition by the Mr. Scam, who are the first petitioners whose petition collapsed, because in script they are saying that the word for word, the initial petition, which was lodged in sometimes in March this year, and this one, there's no difference. It's like a copycat. So the current petitioner, Mr. Dennis Muhanda, is there is a feeling that is being used by the executive to execute the initial petition, the initial desire to remove the County Public Service board from office.
Maybe Douglas Ndinda, as we wind up, I just want to look at, I've seen members of county assembly around, but they're not part of that meeting. What do you think they might be around for, and yet today, they might not be having this morning hours session?
Well, the county, this is their offices. The county assembly compound is their offices. But there are many issues that are affecting the assembly, the county assembly, and the county government. Today we are talking about a petition to remove the minister, the county minister for sports, social services, Mr. Moffat Mandela. There are a lot of underhand dealings that are going on at the moment. Now there is this one. There's a lot of interest that comes into play. So we cannot authoritatively say that they're here for A, B, C, D, but there are a number of issues. There are a number of interests that come into play. What I know is that all these county assembly members, they're here for a purpose. This is their office. They want to make money, and they want to influence some things.
Okay, mtazamaji, bila shaka amekuwa baadhi wanahabari kaunti ya Kakamega ambao tunajadili, hatujamalizana nao. Nitamwomba Ndindi labda anapomalizana na ule ambaye anazungumza naye atakuwa anarejea hapa, nitakuwa namtafuta bwana Otenyo na vile vile bwana Uchunge. Kuna swala ambalo nataka tulizungumzie, swala ambao mawakili sasa hivi ama ukipenda advocates wamekuwa na kikao mapema leo na wanahabari kaunti ina ya Kakamega, na swala kilizungumzia swala la ubomozi ambalo linaendelea sasa hivi katika baadhi ya mitaa ama miji ambayo maeneo ambayo ni ya kifahari. Nikiongelea kifahari nazungumzia maeneo ambayo labda watu ambao wanajulikana kama wa mabwanyenye wanaishi, ikiwemo eneo ya milimani ambapo baadhi ya majengo ya kifahari yameweza angushwa. Hivyo basi mapema leo kumekuwepo na kikao na wanahabari wale mawakili kutoka kaunti nzima ya Kakamega, na swala wale ambao wanafanya masuala ya sheria hapa, na swala ambalo walilichukulia podo ama lilishikia sana swala la swala la sheria kutofuatiliwa, na wakalalama sana kuhusiana swala nzima la sheria kutofuatiliwa. Na vile vile tumemsikia wakimtaja baadhi tu ya watu, wakimtaja mbunga Mumias Mashariki Peter Kalero Salasia, lakini vile wameweza weka bayana wenzangu ni kwamba swala hili ambalo linazungumzia hapa si swala labda la wakazi wa kaunti ya Kakamega. Wanatarajia labda iwapo ile bodi ambayo inasimamia uajiri wa wafanyikazi katika kaunti ina ya Kakamega itakuwa inaangaziwa, iwapo itabanduliwa katika mamlaka ama katika nyadhifa hiyo, bodi itakayochaguliwa. Bodi inasemekana kwamba bodi ya kwanza ilikuwa ya uongozi wake gavana mtangulizi ambaye pia naibu kinara wa chama cha ODM na uzungumzia Wycliffe Ambetha Oparanya, na hivyo basi mmoja wa wakazi wa kaunti ya Kakamega kutoka eneo bunge la Malava aliweza wasilishwa mswada katika bunge hili ya kutaka kuibandua bodi hiyo, lakini baadaye aliweza uondoa mswada huo ama aliweza withdraw the petition, swala ambalo liliwaacha wengi na maswali. Mbona tu akauondoa mswada huo, na baada ya siku chache tu kuondoa mswada huo katika bunge hili la kaunti, aliweza ajiriwa katika hii bodi ama aliweza ajiriwa katika kaunti ya Kakamega, swala ambalo labda wengi watakuwa nalizungumzia. Sasa ni petition ya pili ama mswada wa pili ambao pia umewasilishwa hapa, ambao pia tutakuwa tunawazungumzia, tutakuwa tunaangazia labda mswada huu ni ile interest ya yule ambaye amewasilisha petition hii, ama ni interest ya wakazi wa kaunti ya Kakamega, ama ni interest ya mtu binafsi, swala ambalo pia kunradhi litakuwa linaangaziwa sana. Kimtazamaji, kuna mengi nitakuwa baada ya muda kiduchu ambao tukimaliza tu kikao ambacho waliweza chukua dakika 10 tu, tutakuwa tunarejea ndani, ni kurejesha ndani moja kwa moja anga tuangazie labda ni kipi ambacho wamejadili ama wamedadafua kulingana swala hili. Manake wale jopo kazi ama wale mawakili na vile wale wakilishi wadi ambao wako katika kamati andalizi, kamati jopo kazi ambayo inaangazia kikao hiki, wameweza omba muda anga dakika 10 wa kujadili na kudadafua swala hilo kabla tu ya kikao kurejea katika awamu ya pili anga kuangazia swala hili. Kwa hivyo mwenzangu Sharon Ambani ambaye yuko nyuma ya kamera atakuwa anahakikisha kwamba labda tunapata kikao cha pili kitakapoanza tu, punde kitakapoanza tuweze kupeleka ndani anga uweze jua ni kipi haswa kinaendelea hadi sasa hivi. Lakini sasa hivi mwenzangu, vile nimeweza kupatia taswira hapa, tunasubiria tukitazama pande zote, baadhi ya watu ambao wamekuwa ndani wakiwemo wakazi wa kaunti ya Kakamega wako hapa, na vile kuna wakilishi wadi na kuna wale maafisa wafanyikazi katika sekta anuai ambao wamefika hapa, labda wanataka kutathmini swala nzima la kikao hiki. Labda kikao hiki kitakuwa kinafika jadi ama mwisho kikiwa kinaangazia swala hili ambalo wengi wanataka kujua, labda hatima ya petition hii siku ya leo itakuwa inaingia katika kiwango ama kitengo kingine, ama petition hii itakuwa inazama maji siku ya leo iwapo yule ambaye ni mwasilishaji ama yule ambaye alikuwa na petition hii hatakuwa na stakabadhi za kutosha ama hatakuwa na enough evidence, basi inamaanisha kwamba petition hii itakuwa inafika kikomo siku ya leo. Lakini iwapo atawasilisha stakabadhi zinazohitajika, basi inamaanisha petition hii ama mswada huu utakuwa unaingia katika kitengo cha pili, na baadaye utakuwa pia unasikizwa ili waweze kutathmini iwapo swala hili mswada huu utakuwa unasaidia. Lakini hadi sasa hivi mwenzangu, dakika 2 zijazo nitakuwa tunakurejesha ndani ili uweze pata moja kwa moja labda kipi kinajiri hapa, manake hapa tunahakikisha kwamba pia unapata kila kitu moja kwa moja jinsi mambo yalivyo kutoka hapa kaunti ina ya Kakamega. Kwa hivyo baadaye tu mwenzangu atakuwa anakurejesha ndani ili tuweze kuendelea na kikao, kuona ni kipi kinajiri huku, manake naona kronometa yangu inaniambia dakika 10 ambazo tulikuwa tumepewa zilikuwa zimegonga ama zimekufa maji. Kwa hivyo utaniruhusu na iwapo wenzangu watakuwa na nafasi angaa tuangazie tu swala ambalo nilikuwa nimeweka mezani, swala la mawakili kukuwa na kikao mapema leo na wanahabari kaunti na Kakamega wakiangazia swala la kubomoa, na labda mtazamaji mmoja hapo wale mabwanyenya ama wale wakazi ambao waliweza fikiwa na shoka la kubomozi hapo jana ni mmoja wa wale ambao ni wamiliki wa kampuni, baadhi ya kampuni kaunti na ama mkoa huu wa Magharibi. Namzungumzia Bwana Rai ambaye pia jana ua lake ama compound yake iliweza bomolewa na nyumba zikaweza bomolewa, nyumba za kifahari, na mengi alizungumzia kuhusiana na swala hiyo. Kwa hivyo mtazamaji, nitakuwa na kurejesha baada ya kikao hiki, nitakuwa na kupeleka ndani moja kwa moja tuweze kurejea katika awamu ya pili. Ila sasa hivi nashukuru kutazama na endelea kutazama, nitakuwa narejea ile niweze kupeleka ndani uweze kupata kikao cha pili, labda kipi kinajiri pale ndani. Na kama hujafanya vile nilikuwa nataka nakuambia, you can like, you can share na comment, na bila shaka nitakuwa nashukuru sana. Na pia mwenzangu hapa atakuwa nakuambia, tutakuwa tunazungumza tukimalizia kikao. Kuna mengi ambayo mwenzangu Sharon Ambani ambaye leo ndio camera person wangu atakuwa nakupatia taswira kamili kipindi cha ni mwanahabari pia ni camera person, lakini pia mwanahabari na napenda kazi yake kuntu sana. Kwa hivyo nashukuru sana mtazamaji kuendelea kuwa hapo. Bila shaka kutoka kwangu sina budi kurejesha studio, na nitakuwa tunarejea katika awamu ya pili. Oh.